other words, what are the things we're doing? Like, for example, stress is
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
And stress is making us acidic. So
Right,
we
right,
can
right,
talk
right.
about that, the cortisol and all that, but also even just exercising, we're temporarily acidic. And what are some of the things that come to your mind? I'm huge on infections, so they make us acidic.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a constant issue of balance. Certainly, if we over exercise, we produce acids. If we're like lactic acid, and especially if we push ourselves maybe a little bit too much. And there's always this thing between rest and recovery. But if you take the issue of, let's see, yeah, I mean, exercise is a really good example of we can definitely get acidic with exercise, but probably of more interest is the stress response. That when we are under stress, as you all, everyone knows, the body really responds in many ways to kick up the survival mechanisms by producing things like cortisol, which tell your body, look, stop digesting food, shut off hydrochloric acid, start getting ready to fight or flight, send the energy to the muscles, send the glucose to the muscles, don't send it to digestion, shut everything down that's not to do with the fight or flight mechanism. And so, yeah, stress has such a big impact on every part of the body. In fact, I had a client who was always measuring her pH, and she was very good. She'd always measure the first morning urine. She took the minerals, like one of the things we do at Alkaline for Life is produce mineral compounds that alkalize. And so she took our supplements, and she was great. But then she got a really big situation of stress. It was kind of a family distress, and she recognizes that she got really invested in it. She got really upset. She got thrown off kilter by this, and her pH went down. And it stayed down for about 4 or 5 days till she finally said, I realize I'm internalizing this. I've got to do my breathing exercises. I've got to let go of this a little, trust that it's going to work out. And when she shifted her mental attitude and changed her stress response, her pH went right back to normal. And
I had a spiritual teacher tell me once that the best way to handle stress is to be absolutely grateful for everything, even
yes,
that probably. But I try to practice that and, of course, breathe too. But I'm just by nature somebody that's easily stressed. So
yeah,
that's common today. And then we live in a world where you turn on the TV, you turn on the news, awful things are happening in other places in the world, in here, and we don't have any say so in fixing it. It's I don't know what it would have been, like different kind of stress if you were an ancient person living thousands of years ago. Just your life, getting enough food was stressful.
well,
Not being killed by
different
different kind
stresses.
of
Yeah,
stress. But I don't know if we're under way more stress, and especially people in war zones right now. So it's almost like you almost have to assume stress is there. It's not going to go away. And so you need to do things to constantly, daily
right.
focus on minerals and alkalizing. And I take our minerals and I literally pop them into anything I'm drinking, even if it's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
soup or something, because you might think, wow, she sure is taking a lot of those. But I feel like I have to do that because it's
yeah.
making balance for me.
And if we could also, we need the full deck of nutrients and alkalizing compounds, but also if we could, get have a goal of gaining some control over our mental processes and our emotions and not be so subject to this. We see something horrible, we get to feel horrible, but to be more a witness of what's happening and try to, they always talk about the ducks, they'll be in a pond, one duck will fight with the other duck, they have a big fight. And then after it's over, they shake and they go off and they forget it. We have to kind of, the impression can leave a deep mark if we see something horrible on the TV, or it can leave a mark where we say, bless those people, and not leave a deep mark that consistently brings up negativity. Just to tell you, I did recently an interview with Acharya Sunya, who's one of these teachers of Ayurveda and the Vedas. And she and this is called From Fear to Flourishing, that you can find it on YouTube if you're interested. We were talking about bone health and how fear affects bone health. And she said, in the ancient texts, they said that bone was very strong tissue. Nothing could damage bone except one thing, and that was negativity.